What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Today I want to go over a few things with my new Canon M50. The things I'm curious about is how well this camera does with natural light versus steady light, constant light via softbox. So this camera, a lot of people talk about saying that it's really not that great in low light because of the size of the sensor. For my test, I can see why it's not as good as certain cameras, but it's definitely not bad at all. So today's test is just me kind of turning the light on, turning it off, checking the ISO. I'll give you guys the shutter speed. So far, what I want to say is I actually been loving this camera. For the price point and what it can do, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I honestly don't know how the camera's this inexpensive because it's made pretty solid and it takes great pictures. And as you can see, it takes pretty good video. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to turn the light off and then we're going to see exactly what the camera does. Okay. So guys, this is what it looks like using the light from my window, which is a few feet to my right. As you can see, it's darker. I can see that the autofocus is still functioning on the camera, which is pretty cool. Right, so it still has my face locked, so that's good. So now I'm going to turn the light back on. Now the settings I have on my camera right now is 640 ISO, aperture 3.5, and 1/60 shutter speed. Just as an example, if I take my shutter speed and I start knocking it down, you can see the picture's getting lighter, and I'm at 1/30 now. So there's some motion blur happening now. If I continue to go down more, it'll get brighter. So right now I'm at 1/20th. So now you can see, So there's like a balance that you have to do on the camera. Let me put it back up. Okay, so 1/50. All right, we were at 1/60 before. Okay, so now the other end of this is, so I'm at 1/60 now and it's kind of dark, right? If I take my ISO from 640, right, I can bump that up. So right now, it's at 1/2000. You can see my computer is blown out, my screen. And the picture is probably, I can't tell from looking at the screen, but I can guarantee there's definitely more noise than there was before. Alright, so now we're going to do a test. We're going to go back down to 640. Okay, so now we're at 640. And I'm going to turn the softbox back on. Okay. So it's a big difference, right? It's nice and bright. There's no shadowing going on. My ISO is low enough where you could still make out my computer screen even though it's blurred out from the bokeh. So right now, again, I'm at 640 ISO, 1/60 shutter speed, and 3.5 aperture. Now, I did a video yesterday that kind of showed how the camera reacted using automatic settings. So I'm gonna roll a couple of those clips so you guys could see that if you were gonna shoot on video just using the automatic mode, it's actually pretty surprising how well it worked. Turning the softbox on and off, the auto exposure with the ISO adjusted really, really well. Instead of me explaining it, I'm just gonna roll it. So let's take a look. What's up, guys? Okay, so now I'm still in manual mode, but I have my ISO and exposure set to automatic. I'm still able to adjust my shutter speed and my aperture. So right now I'm currently at 1/60th and my ISO is at 500. So now I'm going to shut off the soft light box and we're going to see how the camera does with adjusting. All right. Okay. It's adjusting. Okay. My monitor is now blown out behind me. It's adjusting. I think it's adjusted now. Okay, so my ISO is at 2000 with 1/60th. Again, as done before, if we drop our shutter speed, I'm at 1/15. So now you can see there's some motion blur. But bringing my shutter speed down that low did get us down to 640 ISO. So almost comparable to what we had before. I'll bring it back up to 1/60. I'm comfortable there. I think there's There's no motion blur. We're at 2500 now, so I guess the camera with the natural light adjusted itself to 2500. Before it was 2000. So again, this is just a test on what the camera does if you have the ISO and exposure set to automatic. All right, so I'm gonna turn on the light and we're gonna see what else it does. Okay, it's bright, it's adjusting, and it's good now. All right, we're at 640, kind of like where I was at in the beginning of the video using manual mode. 1/60, 3.5 aperture, 640 ISO. So I guess this is where it wants to be. It looks good on the monitor. I can't tell. So now another thing I want to check is how does the autofocusing do? Obviously it's tracking on my face, no problem. So I'm really happy with that. If I put my hand, yep, look at that. It's focusing nice on my watch, right? And then back on my face. Let's see if I go out of frame. All right. I don't know what's in focus. Well, the background should be in focus. But if I come back in, it's back on me. Let's see, go back out. All right, so now my monitor is in focus. Back on me, and I'm in focus. Okay, so the autofocus seems pretty good. Do a hand test. Look at that, nice and clear. Back on me, and it's back on me. So I mean, it seems to do a really good job. No matter what you throw at it, it's just quick. Honestly, doesn't need to be quicker than that for me. I'm really impressed with this camera so far. So, all right, so we did the light test, we did the natural light test, and we did autofocus test. You know what I'll do? It might be hard. I'm gonna turn the softbox off, and we're gonna try an autofocus and test. It probably is gonna have a hard time, but let's see. Okay, natural light. It's adjusting. My monitor is getting blown out again because the ISO is probably at like 2000. It's at 1600 now. Okay. I mean, it's probably definitely usable, right? It's usable footage. I don't know how much noise is in the picture because we're at 1600, but I guess I'm going to find out. Is it focusing? It's focusing really well. It's back on my face. Hand test. Focused. Back on my face. Let's see, pull out of the frame. Back in the frame. I mean, for this low light setting, it's not super bright in here. It's not doing a bad job. Sorry I spent most of the video looking at the monitor, but it's the only way for me to kind of know what's going on. All right, I'm gonna turn the other light back on. Okay, all right. It's adjusting, and okay, I think it's there, I guess. Let's see where it's at. Now it's at 500. Okay, so again, guys, this is with one soft box. You get two of them for $49.99 on Amazon. I will put a link in the description in case you want these lights. Again, having these lights to make videos indoors allows you to do videos whenever you want under any lighting conditions. You can also maneuver the camera settings however you like to get the look you're trying to achieve. They're not expensive and they really give you the best possible quality you're gonna get out of any camera. But again, this test is with the M50, which I think is probably the best camera sub $700 on the market right now. Okay, so what do you guys think? You saw the test I did with the autofocus. The autofocus is like on point, like never missed a beat. The auto exposure, the auto ISO adjusted beautifully, like I think it did, as far as the lighting conditions. If you guys have an M50, let me know what you guys think about the camera. So far, I'm really impressed with it, and I'm excited to make some more videos. If you like what I did in this video and you maybe got some knowledge out of it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, and if you want, click that subscribe button down below. I'll be making future videos. Thanks a lot for watching today, and until next time, I'll catch you later.